Ethan loved the night sky. Every evening after finishing his classes and homework, he would grab his telescope and head to the open field near the edge of town. It was quiet there, far from the lights of the city. The stars were bright and the air smelled of grass and earth. It was his favorite place to think, to dream, and to imagine worlds beyond his own. This night, however, was different. The moon was full, casting a silver glow over the field. Ethan adjusted his telescope, focusing on a cluster of stars he had been tracking for weeks. Suddenly, a strange light flashed in the distance. At first, he thought it was a shooting star, but the movement was different. The light grew closer, moving slowly, almost as if it were floating. Ethan's heart began to race. He rubbed his eyes, wondering if he was imagining things. But the light remained, descending from the sky, growing brighter and more defined, and then he saw her. She stood in the middle of the field, glowing faintly, her figure illuminated by an otherworldly light. She was humanoid, but unlike anyone Ethan had ever seen. Her skin shimmered softly, and her large, luminous eyes seemed to hold the colors of distant galaxies. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, and her presence felt both gentle and powerful. Ethan took a cautious step forward, unsure whether to run or stay. "Hello?" he called out, his voice trembling slightly. The girl tilted her head, regarding him with curiosity. "Human?" she asked softly, her voice musical and calm. "Yes, I'm Ethan," he replied, trying to sound braver than he felt. "Who are you?" The alien blinked slowly, as if considering how to answer.
"I am Lyra.
I'm not from your world." Ethan's eyes widened. He had read about aliens, watched movies about them, and even debated their existence, but nothing prepared him for this moment. Here was a being from another world standing in front of him and speaking his language. He swallowed hard. "Not from Earth?" Lyra shook her head gently. "No, human. I come from a place far beyond your skies. My people observe and learn from many worlds. I am here to understand." Ethan stepped closer, fascinated. "Wow, that's amazing. You can talk to me. You understand humans?" Lyra's eyes shimmered. "Yes, I wish to understand. Your feelings, your thoughts, your ways." She paused for a moment, tilting her head. "And you, human? You are curious. You wish to learn, yes?" Ethan nodded eagerly. I guess. I've always wanted to know what's out there, and now I'm seeing it." He laughed nervously, shaking his head in disbelief. "I never thought I'd meet someone like you." Lyra stepped closer, her glowing figure casting soft light across the grass. "Someone like me? What does that mean?" Ethan blinked. He tried to find the right words, but they felt inadequate. I mean, different, beautiful, amazing. I don't know how to explain it." Lyra tilted her head slightly, studying him with those enormous, sparkling eyes. "Beautiful? Amazing? These words, what do they mean to you, human?" Ethan took a deep breath. He had always struggled to describe emotions, and now faced with this extraordinary being, he realized words could barely capture what he felt. Beautiful. It's when something, or someone, makes you feel happy to see them. Amazing. It's when you feel, wow, like you've never seen anything like it. Lyra blinked, a faint glow spreading across her cheeks, though he wasn't sure if she could blush. "I understand. Human. You see me and feel these things?" Ethan nodded, feeling his heart race. "Yes, I do. I've never met anyone like you. I don't even know if I should be saying this, but you're gorgeous." There was a pause. Ethan's stomach twisted with nervousness. He expected confusion, fear, or even anger, but instead, Lyra's large eyes softened. She tilted her head slightly, a gentle glow spreading across her face, and then she whispered almost shyly, "Say it again, human." Ethan froze. Did she really just ask him to repeat that? His face turned red and he stumbled over his words. I didn't mean to. Yes. Again, she said softly, her voice musical and calm. "I like it when you speak truthfully." Ethan's heart thumped in his chest. This was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Her reaction, her blush, her quiet request, it felt human in the most extraordinary way. Slowly, carefully, he repeated, "You're gorgeous." Lyra's glow brightened slightly. She looked down for a moment, then glanced at him, eyes wide and sparkling. "Again," she whispered, a little more insistently this time. Ethan chuckled nervously, feeling both embarrassed and oddly happy. You really like me saying it? Yes, she said simply, her eyes shining. Words, they carry feelings. And I feel happy when you say them. Ethan felt warmth spread through his chest. He had expected fear, confusion, or disbelief, but instead he felt a strange connection, a bridge between worlds. I guess maybe words are more powerful than we think. When I say it, it's not just about looks, it's everything about you. Lyra blinked slowly, as if absorbing his words. I like that. Human, tell me more. Do not hide what you feel. Ethan hesitated for a moment, then smiled, feeling braver. Okay, I will. You make the world feel bigger and smaller at the same time. Bigger because I feel like anything could happen. Smaller because when I'm with you, it feels like nothing else matters. Lyra's glow pulsed gently like a heartbeat. She tilted her head closer. Human, your words, they are special. I feel joy and curiosity. You are different from others I have observed. Ethan laughed softly, shaking his head. I think you're different too. And I want to learn more. About you. About your world. About everything. Lyra smiled faintly, her cheeks glowing. Then we will spend time learning from each other. I will teach you. You will teach me. And we will share truth. The night stretched on as they sat together in the field. Ethan showed Lyra constellations, pointing out patterns and telling stories humans had made up for the stars. Lyra listened, fascinated, asking questions Ethan had never considered about the universe. It was strange, magical, and a little frightening. Yet beneath it all there was trust, two beings from entirely different worlds beginning to understand one another. And as the night deepened, Ethan realized that this meeting was not just an encounter. It was the start of something extraordinary, something neither of them would ever forget. Under the soft glow of the moon, Ethan looked at Lyra once more and whispered, almost to himself, I never imagined I'd meet someone like you. Lyra's gaze softened and she whispered back, and I never imagined I would find a human like you. And in that quiet moment the world felt endless, filled with possibility and brimming with the magic of connection. Ethan had never imagined a night like this. The field was quiet except for the soft rustle of grass and the distant hum of crickets. He kept staring at Lyra, the alien girl who had appeared as if out of nowhere, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Her eyes, large and shimmering like polished gems, reflected the stars above. Her presence was gentle yet intense, almost magnetic. Ethan rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the heat of embarrassment. I mean, you look, he trailed off, completely flustered. He had never spoken to anyone like this, let alone an alien. Words failed him. Lyra tilted her head, her expression curious and patient. Her voice, soft and musical, asked, What were you trying to say, human? I didn't mean to be rude, Ethan stammered, trying to gather his thoughts. You look, He stopped again. His mind raced. He had learned about aliens in books and movies, but none of that prepared him for the sight of her. So close, so alive. Finally, in a sudden burst of honesty, Ethan blurted out, You're gorgeous. There was a moment of silence. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. The words hung in the air, heavier than he expected. He opened his mouth to apologize, to explain that it was an accident, that he didn't mean to make things awkward. Then he saw it. Lyra's eyes softened, her cheeks faintly glowing. She leaned slightly closer, a shy smile curving her lips, and whispered, Say it again, human. Ethan froze. His brain stuttered. Did she really just ask him to repeat that? I don't know if I should, he muttered nervously, scratching his head. Yes, she said softly, her voice almost a gentle breeze. Say it again. I like it when you speak truthfully. Ethan's mind was spinning. This was not like anything he had ever experienced. She wasn't human, and yet her reaction, her blush, her quiet request was entirely human in its simplicity. His heart thumped in his chest. Slowly, carefully, he repeated, You're gorgeous. Lyra's glow seemed to brighten a little. She looked down for a moment, as if hiding her delight, then glanced back at him with her eyes wide, luminous, and sparkling. Again, she whispered, a little more insistently this time. Ethan chuckled nervously, feeling both embarrassed and oddly flattered. You really like me saying it? Yes, she said, her voice almost musical. Words are special. They tell truths that cannot be seen. He blinked. Special truths? Lyra nodded. Yes, human. Your words. They carry feelings. And I feel happy when you say them. She paused for a moment, then added quietly, It is new for me, this feeling, and I like it. Ethan felt a warmth spread in his chest. He had expected to be terrified, confused, or even defensive in this encounter, but instead he found himself drawn in by her sincerity, by the gentle honesty in her words. Well, in that case, he said, laughing softly, you really are gorgeous. Lyra's cheeks glowed brighter this time. She turned her face slightly, almost shyly, and looked at the stars above. You humans, you're strange. Yet your words are beautiful. I want to hear more. Ethan smiled, suddenly feeling braver. I think I could say a lot of things about you, if you want. She nodded eagerly, her expression curious, open, and trusting. Yes, human, tell me. Tell me everything you think. Do not hide your thoughts. For the next hour, the two of them sat in the quiet field, speaking softly. Ethan described simple things, how the moonlight touched the grass, how the night smelled of cool earth, and how her presence made the world feel both bigger and smaller at the same time. He admitted, sometimes awkwardly, how strange it felt to meet someone like her. Lyra listened intently, occasionally tilting her head or closing her eyes as if letting his words settle deep inside her. Your thoughts, they are gentle, she said finally. They are different from how I understand the universe. But they are good. I like them. Ethan felt a shiver of happiness. It was incredible. Here he was speaking honestly to an alien, and she understood him. Not just the words, but the feeling behind them. Then she leaned a little closer and whispered, Again, human. Tell me more truths about how you feel when you see me. Ethan hesitated, heart pounding, then realized he could not lie. Honestly, I feel happy and nervous, and I think you're amazing. Lyra's glow pulsed slightly like a quiet heartbeat. She blinked and the blush on her cheeks deepened. Amazing. Yes, that word fits, but feelings are strange. I do not always understand them. Yet I feel glad because of you. Ethan felt his chest tighten in a way that was both exciting and confusing. He had never felt this connection with anyone before, human or otherwise. I'm glad too, he said softly. You make me feel like the world is full of possibilities, like anything could happen. For a while, they simply watched the stars together. No words were necessary. The silence was comfortable, almost sacred. Ethan realized how rare this moment was, how rare it was to connect so deeply with another being. Not just to look at someone and feel admiration, but to feel understood, even when their life, their existence, was completely different from his. Finally, Lyra spoke again. Human, you speak truths with your heart. I like it. It is rare for me. Ethan smiled, feeling a mixture of awe and warmth. I think maybe words are more than just sounds. Maybe they carry pieces of ourselves. And when I say you're gorgeous, it's not just about looks, it's everything about you. Lyra's eyes glimmered and her lips curved into a soft smile. I like that. Say it again, human, and Ethan did. The next morning, Ethan woke up with a strange, warm feeling of excitement. The encounter with Lyra had left him restless in the best way. Even the sunlight streaming through his window seemed brighter, more alive. He kept replaying their conversation under the stars, her soft whisper lingering in his mind. Say it again, human. He grabbed his jacket and hurried back to the field, hoping she would still be there. And she was. Lyra stood in the middle of the tall grass, her faint glow soft against the rising sun. Her hair shimmered like silver threads and her eyes reflected the colors of the morning sky. Good morning. Human, she said, tilting her head slightly, her voice light and musical. Good morning, Lyra, Ethan replied, smiling. I thought maybe we could spend the day together. Lyra's eyes brightened. Yes, I want to understand your world. Show me everything you think is important. They began slowly, walking along the narrow dirt paths that wound through the field and into the nearby forest. Ethan pointed out small things he had never noticed before. The way sunlight hit the leaves, how the wind moved in waves through the tall grass, how tiny insects created patterns in the soil. Lyra listened carefully, tilting her head, reaching out occasionally to touch a leaf or feel the texture of the bark. Everything here. It is alive in a way I did not expect, she said softly. In my world, nature is precise, perfect, and controlled. Here it is. Messy, but beautiful, Ethan laughed. Messy, but beautiful. That's a good way to put it. He looked at her curious. And what is your world like? Lyra's gaze turned distant, thoughtful. My world is different. It is a place of order, where everything is predictable. Stars move in patterns, rivers flow exactly where they should, and people, like me, are expected to follow rules. Emotions exist, but they are not explored as much as you humans explore them. Curiosity, desire, joy. Sometimes they are considered distractions. Ethan nodded slowly. So what, you don't get to feel freely? Lyra shook her head slightly. Not in the way you do. We have emotions, yes, but we do not linger in them. And we rarely speak them aloud. That is why, your words, human, they are new to me. They are like light in darkness. Ethan felt a warm thrill at her words. It amazed him that someone from another world could appreciate the simplest of human gestures, like speaking honestly. I guess that makes us a little different then, but maybe that's why this is interesting. Lyra smiled softly, her cheeks glowing faintly again. Yes, interesting and enjoyable. As the day passed, Ethan introduced Lyra to more human things. He showed her how to climb trees, though she moved with a grace he had never seen, and they picked wildflowers together. He taught her about birds and their songs, about clouds and how they change shapes. Lyra listened, asked questions, and occasionally laughed, a sound that reminded Ethan of bells in the wind. When they paused by a small stream, Lyra knelt by the water and dipped her fingers in. The water rippled around them, catching sunlight. Your world, it is simple yet full of life, she said. In my world, water is used for function, not for beauty. Ethan smiled, watching the sunlight glint on the ripples. We don't always notice beauty, but it's everywhere if you look for it. Lyra nodded thoughtfully. Then without warning, she asked, Human, can I ask you something personal? Of course, Ethan said, a little nervous. He wondered what kind of personal question an alien could have. Why, did you say I am gorgeous? She asked, looking directly at him. Her eyes were wide and earnest. Ethan laughed nervously, scratching the back of his neck. I don't know. I guess it's what I felt. You're different, not in a scary way, in a beautiful way. And I couldn't help saying it, I really meant it. Lyra's cheeks glowed faintly again. You felt something and said it. Without thinking, that is unusual. But I like it. It is honest. Human honesty, it is fair. Ethan smiled, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. I guess sometimes honesty is easier than thinking too much about what to say. You just speak from your heart. Lyra looked at him quietly for a moment. Then she whispered softly, almost shyly, Say it again, human. Ethan chuckled, feeling his face heat up slightly. You really like me saying it, huh? Yes, she replied simply, her eyes shining. I enjoy it. It makes me feel closer to you. They sat by the stream for a while, sharing silence, letting the gentle sound of water and wind fill the space between them. Ethan realized something important. Lyra wasn't just a fascinating alien. She was someone who could feel in her own way and who wanted to connect, and he wanted the same. As afternoon came, Ethan suggested they explore a nearby village. I want to show you how humans live, he said. Lyra tilted her head, curious. Live like this? Yes, Ethan replied. Simple things. People eat together, work together, laugh together. It's messy sometimes, but it's life. In the village, Lyra observed everything with wide-eyed wonder. She watched children chase each other, laughing, and marveled at the smell of freshly baked bread. She asked questions about everything. Why humans celebrate birthdays, why music could make people happy or sad, why people painted pictures of things instead of just photographing them. Ethan explained patiently, trying not to overwhelm her. Humans, we try to capture feelings, moments, things we can't always explain. That's what makes life interesting. Lyra nodded slowly. I see your world. It is full of unexpected beauty. Not controlled, not perfect, but alive, in a way I did not understand before. As the day ended and the sun dipped below the horizon, Ethan and Lyra returned to the field. The sky was painted in shades of orange and purple. Ethan looked at her and felt a strange mixture of admiration and affection. Lyra glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the sunset. Human, I'm grateful for this day. For you, your world is strange, yet I feel happy here. Ethan smiled softly. I'm happy too. Spending time with you, it's amazing. Lyra's cheeks glowed faintly. Then, human. Say it again. Ethan laughed softly, shaking his head. You never get tired of it, do you? No, she said quietly. It makes me feel alive. And so, under the glowing sky, they shared the moment once more. Ethan spoke honestly, and Lyra's faint blush told him everything words could not. In that quiet connection, two very different beings found something rare: understanding, trust, and the gentle spark of friendship that could become something even more extraordinary. The next few days were magical. Ethan and Lyra continued exploring the world together, learning about each other's lives and sharing countless small moments. Yet, beneath the laughter and quiet discoveries, Ethan began to feel a creeping unease. Something wasn't right. It started subtly. On one afternoon while they were walking near the edge of town, Ethan noticed a black car parked across the street. Two people in dark clothes watched him in the empty field behind him. He quickly looked away, hoping Lyra hadn't noticed. Ethan, why are you frowning? Lyra asked, her voice soft but curious. He hesitated, not wanting to worry her. It's nothing, just people watching, I guess. Lyra tilted her head, her eyes narrowing slightly. Watching? Humans? Why do they watch? Sometimes they're curious or cautious, Ethan said carefully. Sometimes people watch things they don't understand. He tried to keep his voice calm, but a tension ran through his body he couldn't hide. Lyra studied him quietly, sensing the shift in his mood. You seem troubled, human. What is wrong? Ethan took a deep breath. I'm worried someone might find you. People who wouldn't understand, who might try to take you away. Lyra's glowing eyes widened. Take me away, human. Why would they do that? Because you're different, Ethan said quietly. You're not from this world. Some people, they might want to study you. Or worse, I don't know. I just know it wouldn't be safe for you. Lyra's expression softened, but a small tension remained around her lips. I see, I did not expect this world to be dangerous. I thought curiosity would be shared freely, but perhaps it is not always so. Ethan reached for her hand gently, feeling the warmth of her fingers. I'll protect you, Lyra, I promise. I don't care what happens, I'll make sure you're safe. Lyra blinked, her cheeks faintly glowing. Human, you care about me so much. This feeling is strange, but I like it. Ethan's heart thumped. I care because you're important to me. You make this world feel brighter, more alive. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Lyra smiled faintly, but the worry in her eyes remained. I trust you, human, but the world is large and humans sometimes do not understand. For the rest of the day, Ethan and Lyra moved carefully, avoiding the streets where strangers might notice them. They explored quiet forests and hidden streams instead, trying to keep the world at a safe distance. Yet even in these secret moments, tension lingered in the air. One evening, as they sat on a hill overlooking the village, Lyra spoke quietly. Human, do you feel the same as before? Or are you afraid? Ethan looked at her, his eyes serious. I'm a little scared, he admitted. Scared for you. Scared for us. But I also feel happy because I know being with you is worth it. Lyra reached out and touched his cheek, a gentle gesture that made Ethan's heart race. Then, I will stay with you until the end of my time here. And we will make every moment important. The next morning, as the sky turned soft shades of orange, Ethan and Lyra discovered a new challenge. While exploring a nearby forest, they stumbled upon a team of scientists setting up equipment. Ethan recognized the symbols on their jackets, a government research organization. They found us, Ethan whispered, fear tightening his chest. Lyra looked at the group, her glowing aura dimming slightly. Found us? What will they do? They might try to take you, Ethan said quietly. I don't know how far they'll go, I just know I can't let them. Lyra's hands trembled slightly, though she tried to remain calm. Then, human, we must leave, quickly, can you protect me? Ethan nodded. Yes, I won't let them take you. Follow me. They moved carefully, keeping to the shadows of the forest. Ethan's mind raced as he tried to think of a safe path. Every step they took was tense, every rustle of leaves sounding louder than it really was. Lyra followed closely, her trust in him evident in the way she matched his pace without hesitation. After what felt like hours, they finally reached a secluded clearing where the sunlight barely touched the ground. They paused to catch their breath, and Ethan looked at her seriously. "Lyra, I need to ask, are you okay with everything that's happening? This could get dangerous." Lyra looked up at him, her glowing eyes steady. "Human, I am. Scared, but I trust you. We face this together. Do not worry for me, worry. Only for yourself if you must." Ethan felt a wave of admiration for her bravery. "You're amazing, Lyra. Even when things are scary, you stay strong." She smiled faintly, a blush returning to her cheeks. "Then, human, tell me again, say the words you said before." Ethan laughed nervously, feeling a mix of fear and affection. "You really never get tired of hearing it, do you?" "No," she said softly. "It makes me feel brave, makes me feel safe." Ethan looked at her and repeated the words once more. "You're gorgeous." Lyra's faint glow brightened for a moment. She looked at him quietly, then whispered, "Human, you give me courage. With just words, I do not fully understand why, but I trust it." They stayed in that clearing for hours, hiding from prying eyes, talking quietly and sharing small moments of comfort. Ethan realized that the danger made their bond even stronger. Every glance, every word, every shared laugh became more precious because they knew their time together could be limited. As night fell, Ethan and Lyra sat side by side under the stars. The tension of the day hung in the air, but it was softened by their connection. Ethan felt his heart pounding, not just from fear but from the overwhelming care he felt for her. Lyra leaned closer, whispering softly, "Human, even if the world is dangerous, I want to stay with you, even for a short time, and it is worth it." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of relief and resolve. "I'll make sure you're safe, Lyra, no matter what, even if it means hiding, running, or standing against anyone who comes after you. You're important to me." Lyra's cheeks glowed brighter. She reached for his hand, holding it tightly. "Then we will face it together. And, human, you make me feel alive." Under the quiet glow of the stars, Ethan realized something important. Even in danger, even with the world against them, the connection they shared was real, strong, and worth protecting. He knew that the days ahead might be difficult, but as long as they faced them together, they could endure anything. And so, with tension and fear lingering on the edge of their thoughts, Ethan and Lyra embraced the moment, quiet, precious, and unforgettable. The days that followed were filled with quiet moments and careful joy. Ethan and Lyra moved through the world together, savoring every second as if time itself had become precious. Yet deep down both knew that her visit could not last forever. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, painting the sky with shades of gold and purple, Lyra turned to Ethan. Her voice was soft, tinged with a seriousness that made him stop in his tracks. "Human, my time here, it is coming to an end," she said, her glowing eyes reflecting the fading light. Ethan felt a pang in his chest. He had feared this moment, yet he hadn't been ready to face it. I know," he said quietly, struggling to keep his voice steady. "But we still have time. We can make the most of it." Lyra nodded, a faint smile on her lips, though a small shadow of sadness lingered. "Yes, we will. Every moment is important. I want to remember everything." They spent the next day revisiting their favorite places: the quiet field under the stars, the hidden forest, the stream where sunlight danced on the water. Ethan showed Lyra the small joys of human life: the smell of flowers, the sound of laughter from a distant village, the warmth of simple meals shared together. Lyra watched and listened with curiosity, soaking in each detail as though committing it to memory. "Your world, it is alive," she said softly. "Every small thing carries meaning. I will carry this with me." As night fell, they returned to the field where they had first met. The stars above twinkled like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Ethan sat on the grass and Lyra took a seat beside him, her hand finding his naturally. "Human," she whispered, her voice gentle, almost hesitant. "I want to hear it one last time. Say the words you said before." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling his heart race. This moment had been coming, yet it felt impossibly real now. He looked at her, taking in the soft glow of her eyes and the gentle curve of her lips. "You're gorgeous, Lyra," he said, his voice low but sincere. Lyra's cheeks glowed brighter than ever, and she looked down shyly before meeting his eyes again. Human, hearing it. "It makes me happy. You made my time here beautiful." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. "You've made my world brighter, too. I don't want to lose this." Lyra leaned closer, her forehead resting gently against his. "We will not forget. I will remember every word, every laugh, every moment." The silence between them was heavy, filled with unspoken emotion. Ethan could feel the reality of her leaving pressing closer, yet he also felt gratitude for the extraordinary experience they had shared. "Lyra," he said softly, "do you have to go now?" She nodded slowly. "Yet, human, my people, they will come for me. It is my duty. I cannot stay forever, but I will return. Someday, perhaps not soon, but I will try." Ethan's hand tightened around hers. "I'll wait, for as long as it takes." Lyra smiled faintly, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "Then we are connected, even across worlds. Words, feelings. They bind us. I feel it already." They stayed in the field until the sky turned deep navy, stars reflecting in their eyes. Ethan realized that this night was a gift, a final memory they would both carry. He wanted to say more, to hold her close, to make time stop, but he knew he could not. Instead, he chose to speak the truth of his heart. "You've changed me, Lyra. You've made me see things differently. I'll never forget you." Lyra's glow pulsed softly, a gentle warmth against his hand. "And you, human, have given me courage. You have shown me feelings I did not know I could have. I will never forget you either." As midnight approached, a soft hum filled the air. Ethan looked up and saw a faint light descending from the sky, a sleek, shimmering spacecraft. Lyra's people had arrived. Ethan's chest tightened, a mixture of fear, sadness, and hope swirling within him. I guess this is it," he said quietly. Lyra nodded, standing gracefully. "Yes, human, but this is not the end. Remember, words, feelings, the stars, they will bring us together again." Ethan helped her to the craft, his hands lingering in hers a moment longer than usual. "Promise me you'll come back," he whispered, his voice catching. Lyra smiled softly, her glowing eyes reflecting sincerity. "I promise. Human, one day we will meet again." They shared one last look, a mixture of love, gratitude, and hope. Lyra's hand touched his cheek gently before she stepped into the spacecraft. The hum of engines grew louder, and Ethan took a step back, watching as the light enveloped her. "Goodbye, Lyra," he whispered, his voice trembling. "Goodbye, human," she replied, her voice soft but filled with warmth. "Until the stars bring us together again." The spacecraft lifted into the sky, moving swiftly until it disappeared among the constellations. Ethan stood alone in the field, the cool night breeze brushing against his face. His heart ached, yet it also felt full of the memories, the laughter, and the gentle moments they had shared. He sank to the grass, staring at the sky, imagining her looking back at the stars from her world. For the first time, he understood the beauty of distance, of longing, and of hope. Though they were separated by worlds, their connection remained, tied by words, feelings, and shared experiences. Ethan whispered softly to the night, "You're gorgeous, Lyra. I'll say it again, always." A faint breeze swept through the field, rustling the leaves. In that quiet moment, he imagined her smile, her blush, and the gentle glow that had captivated him. It was a memory he would carry forever, a reminder that even across worlds, bonds could endure. He slowly stood, taking one last look at the stars. Ethan knew life would continue, but he also knew that some things, some people, leave marks that never fade. Lyra had changed him, made him braver, made him more aware of the beauty in simple words and honest feelings. And somewhere, across the vastness of space, Lyra was thinking of him too. They were separated yet connected, and that thought gave Ethan a quiet peace. He turned toward home, the night still full of stars, and smiled softly. The adventure they had shared, the bond they had formed, and the promise of meeting again were enough to fill his heart with hope. The world felt alive again, Not because danger had passed, but because he had experienced something extraordinary. And no matter how far apart they were, Ethan knew that some connections, like the stars, never faded.